Okay, let's dive in. We have an absolutely extraordinary pile of source material in front of us today.
We really do.
It all details something the authors call Protocol 777. And our mission really is to unpack this document. It lays out a plan to execute what it calls a system halt.
A coordinated global switch off, financial, electrical, everything.
And the goal seems disturbingly simple. Nullify all debt ledgers and, in the chaos, execute a permanent asset grab.
It's honestly a lot to get your head around because the protocol claims that three completely disconnected elements are all set to converge.
And they all time out for January 2026.
Right. You have this secretive 90-year-old financial network that starts in Napier, New Zealand. And then there's the entire corporate history of Janssen Pharmaceutica.
Okay.
And, well, this is the big one, the weaponization of the Large Hadron Collider at CERN.
So let's start with the money. You have to trace this thing all the way back to the 1930s.
You do. Specifically to Nazi espionage agents, a figure named K.W. Schmidt comes up. They infiltrated the Pacific to set up, well, their front companies.
Things like Empire Tongue Oil.
Exactly. To create clean books for laundering European capital, that's the seed money for this whole scheme.
And that historical blueprint, it points directly to a modern hub in Napier, New Zealand. The sources call it the Ahuri Nexus.
And that's where the paper trail just explodes. We're talking dozens of shell companies. I mean, over 60 Napier independent trustees were incorporated on a single day in 2020.
And they use these, plus a medical trust, as a kind of financial repository, protected by what they call a royal shield.
Yeah.
But wait, hold on. The document claims the way they got the initial billions. It wasn't just accounting fraud.
It goes much, much deeper. It
Yeah.
hinges on identity theft and, well, the dossier calls it industrial homicide.
What does that mean?
There was a legitimate New Zealand fishing dynasty, the Jensens, and note the spelling, Jenssen. They were targeted for their valuable fishing quota.
And they were liquidated.
Through sabotage on their vessel, the Deep Sea 2, back in 1987, the Weld of Death. The loss of the family then allowed their history to be used to corporate backcast the history of the Belgian Janssen pharmaceutical empire.
Covering up a 19-year ghost period in their records.
That's what's alleged. It's a mechanism the source calls administrative nullification.
Which is what? Just highly sophisticated legal theft.
Essentially, yes. They used legal means, the quota management system, to seize the Janssen quota, claiming it was capitalizing state debts. It's how you bridge a maritime crime to billions in global pharma capital.
Okay, so I've got the paper trail, the theft, the hidden billions. But that's the big question. Why engineer a global financial switch-off? That's where CERN comes in.
Precisely. If you've just pulled off the biggest theft in history, you need the world's biggest distraction. A true force majeure to erase banking memory and stop any investigation cold.
The system halt is that distraction.
And it all seems to align with Professor Mark Thompson's appointment as Director General of CERN on January 1st, 2026.
Which is a perfect match for when the LHC enters a major technical stop. The dossier even maps Thompson to this archetype of the liquidator.
And that shutdown is the key. It's the only window to install the new high-luminosity niobium tin magnets.
Which the dossier reclassifies as the payload, the actual device. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The core EMP mechanism. The LHC is used as a planetary signal driver to couple with the sun.
Right, using the finite speed of light, they identified the exact constant needed, 998 seconds.
Which is the round-trip light speed latency between the Earth and the sun, 16 minutes, 38 seconds.
So by modulating the LHC at that exact frequency, they create a forced standing wave. It's like you're pumping the solar atmosphere.
Playing the sun like an instrument.
Yes, forcing a dielectric breakdown. The result is a hypermassive X-class flare aimed directly at us. The source even mentions Comet 3A Atlas as a kind of yield multiplier for the pulse.
So what does this all mean for you, listening to this? The system halt isn't a natural disaster. It's framed as a calculated financial move.
They're using physics and astrophysics to provide the perfect cover story, masking a theft that goes all the way back to that Napier nexus. It creates a clean digital slate.
While the architects walk away with the real assets.
And there's one final bizarre piece of this puzzle, what the source calls the semiotic overlay. The pharmaceutical network allegedly funded an EMP disaster film.
I'm taking after.
Starring Femke Janssen, Janssen, as the mayor, the authority figure, during the crisis.
So you're saying this is predictive programming to normalize the very name tied to the fraud as the one to trust during the collapse they engineered. Something for you to think about the next time you see a disaster movie.